chess friends, how are you? Hope you are good, and today I will show you my knight blunder chess game between chess.com Maximum Engine and me. In this game, I sacrificed my knight in the opening against him. Can I win the game? Let's see. I started the game with e4, we have e5, knight f3 and knight c6. Here Magnus Carlsen would play bishop b5 or knight c3. You might play d4 or something ordinary move like bishop opening, but I am Stockfish, super ultra legendary ultimate max genius special brilliant lucky man Stockfish. I played brilliant move, I mean blunder move knight takes e5, he takes it, d4 to control more center, knight g6 and here he have d5 bishop b4 or knight f6 lines on his next turn. Bishop d3 and he chooses to play c6, so c4 to control that square, queen out to b6 to pressure the pawn and the knight pawn, bishop b4 is a threat so bishop c2, c5 to target the pawn but I completely ignored that pawn, because he can't take the pawn. If you do then the knight will come to the d5 to target the queen, if queen c5 happen to protect it then b4 will come to kick out the queen, you will lose the center pawn, and my position will be very much better. Instead of playing castle I can also push the h-pawn being down a knight, you will face many defeats in life, but never let yourself be defeated, so in this position, we have knight f6 and I pushed the d-pawn, that's a great structure to defeat chess.com. We have bishop f6 castle bishop e5 to target the knight, we need to learn which piece is most important in each situation and not to trade. In this position, the knight is more important than the bishop, because in the long run, he can rotate himself to create pressure to black king side, or play knight h4 to create pressure on this left side. It is the closed position, that means that the knight can get many outposts on these pawn supporting squares, and look at the dark square bishop. He have no good looking squares as the knight, so you shouldn't trade the knight for a dumb bishop. Successful people do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better, so knight e2 and threatening to push the f-pawn to target it and the a-pawn to rise in rook side, castle, a4 to a5, we have bishop e8 by chess.com which is a mistake move, best was to play a5, f4. Now the bishop is completely seized by his own perpetual moves, he have no square to go, if bishop c7 then e5 knight e8 a6 bishop back and look at my army, my only 3 pawns are better than his 60% of his pieces, my tactic will be to play rook a3 h3 to get the file. Move the knight, move the queen to pressure black king side, black will be dead lost so back to the position, we have d6, blocking the bishop line, also the rook line. The bishop gets an open diagonal but that's not important, black pieces are mostly inactive, so it's the right time to start attack which is why I played knight g3, rook e8, and then knight h5. I want to take knight, and after takes, the file will be open, that means that the g file will be fade, put the rook as his desire, g5 to target the knight and the position will be very bad for black, so he takes the knight, queen takes knight. My plan is to move up the rook to go like this and attack to the h7 pawn, f5 is coming to kick out the knight and then, the dark square diagonal will be completely open, queen a6 knight e5, rook to a3, as my plan, or to play rook g3 to get the g file, you might think. What about the light square bishop? The bishop is completely gets passive by his own army and it's not important as the dark square bishop. Queen takes c4 to target the bishop so rook f2, queen d4 to pin the rook, and he pleasurely want to develop his bishop on this diagonal to activate his pieces. Do not go where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path and leave a trail, so rook g3 to target the pawn and the worst thing is that pawn pushing will lead you into checkmate. Another strategy is to develop the bishop to get the dark square diagonal, so bishop c7 queen g5, g6, queen h6, I want to play f6 and checkmate the chess.com quickly because I feel back pain by sitting on my chair for 6 hours, bishop takes f5 and if you take the bishop, then knight g4 will come to fork your rook and queen, queen d2 to protect the rook from the queen, so after knight takes f2, best move is to do queen exchanges and therefore, he will get rook pairs against my bishop pair. And if you take the knight, then rook e1 will be checkmate, act by thinking, don't think by doing. So back to the position, we have bishop e3 to deflect the queen from this diagonal, queen b4 bishop, d2, queen takes b2, and we have e takes f5 with a threat of f6 and checkmate on g7 square. So black forcefully played knight g4 to target the queen, and at the same time, he protects the diagonal. After rook takes g4, I am willing to play f6. And if you didn't subscribe to my YouTube channel, then subscribe the channel with a like, otherwise I may not win game. We have c4, this is coming, and if you play f6, let me show you the variation. Then queen a6 check will come, bishop c1 will not help it because of rook e1, and it will take away your bishop and the king. So rook f1, bishop e6 check, bishop blocks, takes, queen takes check, takes, rook takes e3, and black will completely win the game, before you attempt to beat the odds. Be sure you could survive the odds beating you. So we have a5 to protect the square, and threatening to play f6, so queen here, and after some more moves later, I am threatening to play bishop h6. If you play a 200 elo move rook b8, then bishop h6 will come. Both moves will lead you into checkmate. It queen h8 by you, then I will lock the position with h6. The king can't escape because of this, so after bishop takes pawn, bishop g7 will lose up your queen. Ha 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 ha. I have never seen such a position in my entire life, so bishop takes a5 forcefully by him. So wish you all the best. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more. Bye bye, take care, see you soon.